If you're an author or plan to be one, get excited because this podcast is for you. Book Marketing Mentors is the only podcast dedicated to helping you successfully market and sell your book. If you're ready for empowering conversations with successful marketing mavens, then grab a coffee or tea and listen in to your host, international best-selling author Susan Friedman.
Welcome to Book Marketing Mentors, the weekly podcast where you learn proven strategies, tools, ideas, and tips from the masters. Every week, I introduce you to a marketing master who will share their expertise to help you market and sell more books. Today, my special guest is the Jumpstart Your Business coach, Katrina Sawa. She's been helping entrepreneurs create and scale consistent money-making business since 2002. She's the founder of JumpstartYourBusinessNow.com and is a tell it like it is speaker and international best-selling author with 16 books. As the creator of the Jumpstart Your Marketing and Sales Systems and the Jumpstart Your Business training series, she holds events annually and also runs the International Speaker Network. Katrina, what an absolute pleasure it is to welcome you to the show. And thank you for being this week's guest expert and mentor.
Thank you, Susan. I'm happy to be here.
I just love what you do. You've got so many talents in so many different areas, but it all comes down, I think, in the end to marketing. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, well, it's down to making money for me.
Let's take that one step further. Yes. It's making marketing and making money. Yes.
Because making money comes with a lot of different things. You have to have a good foundation in your business, plus the marketing, in order to really make money and not work yourself to death, right?
Oh, well, let's go down that avenue. That sounds exciting because, many authors are solopreneurs. So it's me, myself, and I in the business. You get to do a lot of things, if not everything. What kind of advice would you give or do you give to solopreneurs with regard to their business?
Well, I definitely started as a business owner and business coach first, and then became an author like 4 years into my business. Some people that might be listening did it the other way around and you became an author. And then you're like, oh, wait, now I have a business, right? Because if you have a book, you have a business. Either way you go, you have a business. If you have something to sell, you have a business. Whether you decide to stay as a solopreneur or you incorporate into an S Corp or LLC, that's your choice. And it depends on what else you're doing, right? I think the majority of us, though, have to focus on marketing and sales. If you want to make any money, you got to know and continue honing your skills around marketing and selling, period. If you don't like it, then you should not be a business owner or try to sell books because you need to be a marketer and a salesperson. It doesn't have to be salesy and annoying, but you need to embrace those strategies and various levels of them to be successful.
I love that you stress that because obviously that's something that I preach as well, because sales is not a 4-letter word, which so many authors think it is, because this comparison with that car salesman and there's sort of the negative side of selling that we've seen so much, the snake oil salesman, but we're not doing that. We've got a great book that we want to promote. It's falling in love with sales and marketing. Talk to us more about this whole concept of falling in love with sales and marketing. What do you advocate for us to be able to do?
Well, if you have an amazing book, which most people who are listening have probably, or they're creating, then you want more people to read it, right? And you want it to inspire people or educate people or entertain people. One way or the other, you want to help other people with your book or your work or your program or your course or your coaching or whatever else you have to sell. And in order to do that, you have to get it in front of more people and they have to want to buy it. They have to understand that the transformation is going to get them somewhere where they want to be, either entertained or to a result for a solution or something like that. Therefore, you have to think about, you have to offer the transformation. That is the sales. Most people say, well, I'm selling my book. Well, that's great. But what does your book do? What's it going to do for me if I read it? What's it going to help me do? And so the transformation that you take people through when they read your book is what you're selling. You're not selling the book. You're selling the transformation, regardless if it's a book, a course, or a coaching program. So always be thinking about selling the transformation. You're talking about the result they're going to achieve and how they're going to feel at the end or during the process. You don't have to think of it as, I have to sell my book. You just think of, hey, if you want to be inspired to help you reach your dreams, you definitely want to read my book. It's going to help you, give you the 5 tips to blankety blank. There's that. And so you think of it as serving and inspiring, educating, or entertaining rather than I have to sell my book. So just, change your mindset around how you're looking at that, in my opinion.
Yes, I love that whole idea of changing your mindset, because you're absolutely right. And people don't buy books. They buy what the book will do for them, which, as you said, is the value, that the transformation that's going to happen. And yes, I love that question, is just even going through in your own mind, well, what does my book do? What is the value? What is the message that I want my target audience to have that my book will help deliver? Now, I know that you're a marketing maven. I've seen so much of what you do, and you're constantly sort of inventing and reinventing and working with people. I know that marketing basics for consistent cash flow is something you love to talk about. Let's go down that avenue and see where that takes us.
Yeah. The thing is, if people think, okay, well, I know 200 people or 200 people are on my email list, of course, 200 people are going to buy my book, right? And it's just not true. Number one, you can't guarantee all 200 people are going to see the email that you send them, the one email that you send them, right, to buy the book. So you have to reach out, and same with Facebook or LinkedIn. If you have 500 friends or connections or 5,000, it doesn't matter. You can't guarantee all of them are going to see the post that says, go buy my book, or, hey, I have a book coming out, or whatever. It's really, I want to say it's a crapshoot of who's going to see what. And you have to get in front of thousands of people, even if you just want a few dozen sales. It's a huge numbers game. I've been in the sales and marketing arena since I was 16 years old, and I'm 51. I've done door-to-door sales. I've done advertising sales. I've done retail sales. I've done network marketing sales. I've done all kinds of different selling in my life and marketing. And you just have to talk to more people. So when we talk about marketing, you can't just put a post out. I put a post out today and nobody bought my book or nobody bought my thing. Well, that's because probably 12 people saw your post. I don't care how many friends you have, but you can't control social media. Same thing goes for email. Most emails go into spam or trash these days. You have to get outside your comfort zone, perhaps, and do more marketing in many different ways. You got to get on podcasts like this. You got to do some speaking gigs and get a speaking opportunity or two. I try to speak at least 4 or 5 times a month minimum, okay, at different groups or whatever, whether it's 12 people in the room or 100 people in the room. You have to get in front of more people more often and in more ways. So social media, email, speaking, networking events, podcasts. You can do your own podcast. You can do your own Facebook lives. You could do your own YouTube lives or, Instagram stories. Those are all getting in front of more people, but most people just don't do enough. They don't get in front of enough people. So the first basic is really getting in front of enough people. And I'm talking like 1,000 new people every month. So how are you going to do that? There's ways where you can do it without killing yourself and working 24/7. You just may not know what they are.
Let's go down that avenue. Let's talk more about that. You're putting the little seeds out there for me or the breadcrumbs for me to follow. Yes, let's talk about some of the things that people don't necessarily think about. You've mentioned social media and obviously your own email list. you never know how many people, you rightly say, how many people are going to actually open this and read this, or they might see it but not open it. Sometimes people open my emails, but they don't necessarily click through to listen to something or watch something or get something. So yes. So how do we do it?
Well, so there's about 20 different marketing strategies that I teach in my events and things like that. There's email, social media, and social media has, 6 or 7 platforms. There's networking where you actually go in person, but also virtual networking. A lot of people they're complaining about Zoom fatigue. Well, you have to get over it because you got to get in front of more people. So you have to figure out how to get the blue screen glasses or the screen or the whatever you need to do to get in front of more people. You can't just avoid networking because you're not going out in person. So I'm on Zoom all day long, every day when I'm working, because I have to be. That's where the people are, right? There's also doing your own events. There's doing your own webinars, master classes, info calls. Those are some of the easiest things you can do. And it's absolutely free marketing, right? And you just have to put them on the calendar and do them consistently. Doing your own podcast requires a little bit more back-end production and stuff like that. So I don't recommend that unless you're making a good amount of money already and you have some time, or you can hire an assistant or production team to work with you on that. But everything else that you might do, videos, you can do video tips. You can do them on Zoom, record them, then upload them to YouTube and make them live over there, and then share them over on social media sites. And then you can put it on a blog post. And then you can send out an email linking over to your blog post. I mean, that's called repurposing your content. Other marketing strategies could be going and getting publicity. You can write articles in local magazines. You can write them in online magazines. I've written all kinds of things. You just have to go find them. There's plenty of sources out there where you can write articles in your local area. If you just look at the magazines around there, look at the newspaper, perhaps. I've written columns. I've gotten publicity on TV locally. I haven't gone national quite yet with the publicity on TV and stuff. That would be hiring a publicist. So, but you can go in your local area and get on a local news station for the morning show and get featured and showcase your book. I've been on many times showcasing some of my books on TV, and it's free. It's free to do that. You just have to say yes. So when you approach them and you say, hey, I'd love to come talk about the 3 keys to loving yourself successful, like one of my books, right? It can be for entrepreneurs or individuals in general on how to, get rid of toxic people. You just give the little preview to the media on what you might cover in their 3-minute slot. And they say, yeah, okay, come on Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. And you're like, okay, you just say yes, right? It can be that easy just by sending in a quick email or making a phone call and then getting invited on. You got to know what you're doing a little bit, but I pretty much told you what to say.
You did. Oh my goodness. I mean, you gave us a book full of tips already on different sources for marketing, which was dynamic. Thank you. You said 2 very important things with regard to local media, because I'm a great fan of local media. I believe they are hungry, and that's why they say yes. And you need to say yes because they are hungry for information. I know that if I send a press release to our local paper, they'll print it verbatim. They may change the headline. That's about the only thing they usually change. But the rest of it, they'll print as is. Go and utilize that local media. They're the people who need and want your information. And it's more than, as we said earlier, it's more than just saying, oh, well, I wrote a book. My brand new book is published. But giving them the value, just as you talked about earlier, what's the value that a listener, a watcher, a reader will get from that? And maybe even tie it into an event that's going on. I think that's always very sexy as well. What do you think?
Oh, totally. Yeah. So I've done that when I had a speaker training. I went in and talked about how to become a speaker and what you need to do to get over your fear of public speaking. And then, by the way, I have an event next month and da-da-da. Yeah. So the timing could be good, but it doesn't matter, especially if you have a website and you offer some free stuff on your website, then people can always look you up. But the thing with the TV media for sure is you have to buy the recording. You can't just link over to it on the website because you don't know if it's ever going to go away. It could go away, and it usually does go away after a year or two or whatever. So you got to buy the recording. It's only $85 or something though, in most places. And then you can embed it and upload it and stuff to your own website and you can have it forever. So highly recommend if you're going to do that, you have to save the recordings of things. Just like if you were in an online magazine, you need to take screenshots of the article pages and the headlines or the covers and stuff like that, because you need those physical contents that you can then use forever. You don't just want to link over. That's a big mistake sometimes people do.
A couple of things that I picked up on when you were talking, especially about an interview, is the fact that you have to have and rehearse these sound bites, things that you're going to say, drop little hints, let's say about your book, in chapter 7 of my book, I talk about this particular tip and it helps a certain amount of people or whatever. And then your call to action. What do you have as a call to action? Do you have that website? Do you have a lead magnet, some kind of freebie that will entice people to come and give you their email address so that you can market to them directly? Obviously, you don't want to just send them to Facebook or LinkedIn because you want to own your own list.
Yes, please don't just send them to social media. That's important to have a really good call to action for TV media, but also anything you're doing. If you're doing a Facebook Live, what's your call to action? You can't just say, well, if you're interested, message me if you want to talk. That's too passive. You have to say, let's talk. If this is your issue and you're having this issue, then I want to talk to you. My link to book a call is in the comments, right? You have to be more firm and assertive rather than wishy-washy and passive in your call to action. Otherwise, people aren't going to take the time because they're too busy. They're busy just like you. And if you don't tell them what to do right now and where to go and what link and what time and whatever, then they're just going to do nothing and move on to the next thing.
And one of the tricks that I've learned is to actually buy what they call a pretty link, so that I've got Brainstorm with Susan, for instance. So at the end of one of my webinars, I said, well, if you want to brainstorm some ideas with me, I'm going to offer you a 20-minute session, and go to brainstormwithsusan.com. Now that links straight up into my schedule calendar and they can book a call.
Yeah.
So that's something that people remember rather than spouting off a long URL website name that you've gotten in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You definitely have to buy domain names for things that you're promoting. I have a lot of domain names for that purpose. So if someone wants a call with me, it's askkat.biz. If someone wants my free follow-up marketing template and audio, then it's jumpstartyourfollowup.com. If it's my event, it's loveandmoneylive.com. I mean, you just have to buy the different domains because it's easier and more memorable. Make sure that's spellable too, and use those in your call to action for sure, especially when you're talking them.
Yes. And something, as you rightly said, that is memorable because it's so easy to forget. But if it's something that is easy to remember, the more the better. So
yeah.
Another thing that you talk about is putting your business on autopilot. Now, I told you, it's me, myself, and now. I, in my business. How am I going to put it on autopilot? Like, I don't even feel I can leave my office sometimes. So,
well, oh my gosh, there's so many different things. I want to wrap up the marketing thing really quick, and I'll come back to this. But there's 3 types of marketing. So the one I talked about earlier is new business marketing. You're getting in front of new people. Then there's database marketing, which is your current email list, right? Or people that already know, like, and trust you, like maybe your followers on social. And then there's referral source marketing. So that's when you're actually specifically reaching out to other complementary business owners that can refer business to you because you have similar target audiences. So there's so many different things to do in each one. but we covered as much as we can in just a few minutes. So a lot of that actually can be on autopilot. Some of the follow-up, for example, in the database marketing can be on autopilot. We like to call, when people opt in for a free gift, then you put an opt-in box on a page that says, hey, come get my free audio on blankety blank, or my, the first 2 chapters of my book you get for free, just enter your name and email, that kind of thing. That's an opt-in box, and that should be on its own page. A landing page or just a page on your website is fine, as long as it's clear that that's the one thing you want them to do on that page. Then once they hit submit, it should automatically trigger them going and getting the free thing, which should be on a different page on your website, ideally. Like it just automatically redirects you to that, I call it a thank you page, which is the hidden page from everybody, right? That nobody can find the hidden pages. They're not indexed or anything like that. They get over there and then they can click to open and view, either download or listen to the audio or watch the video or download the ebook or whatever it is. They'll also get an email. So that submit button would trigger an email, which is called an autoresponder. And that can say inside a lot of different things. It can say, thanks for getting the free thing. Here's the page to go get it, right? And click them over to the thank you page. And then, by the way, most people who go and get that usually want this over here, and it's only $27. If you're interested in getting the next step after this, then go over here and you can buy it for $27, or you can come to a free call with me. Here's the link to that, and then you can put testimonials in there. And then you can put all of that same information on the thank you page. The reason we use the thank you pages is because people don't always get the email, right? So the emails, sometimes the very first email that will be sent to someone when they opt in goes into their spam or trash immediately. And unless they are regularly looking in those inboxes, then they're not seeing the thing they just signed up for. In many cases, I have people that sign up for free things a couple different times. Now, I don't know why they just don't get redirected to the web page, and maybe they do. They just didn't notice that it was actually, the deliverable page. But you got to do so many different things. So all of that can happen automatically. And then subsequent emails that can go to those people who've signed up for your free thing can be pre-written and scheduled, and all of that can be automated. So those are the main things that people need to automate, of course. And then systematizing things that you're doing. Standard operating procedure, an SOP. For example, I run the International Speaker Network and I book speakers. You were one of them. Thank you very much. So people fill out the form to apply to speak, which gives me their topic description, their bio, and their headshot. And then that all gets redirected to my assistant, who then puts all the marketing copy together and sends the speaker the marketing stuff. And all of that is done by somebody else. I don't do any of that. I just entice people to come and join or apply to speak. That's all I have to do. I have to market and promote that opportunity. And then everything is done by my team, except for me booking, what date the speakers are going to speak. But everything is done by my team and I just show up. So there's a standard operating procedure that my team implements on what they have to do and when, and how they post the recordings of the call when it's done. And I have to record it to my cloud instead of my computer so they can find it easily and I don't have to do any work when it's done. There's a lot of different things that if you designate those steps that you're taking, if you write them down, then you can delegate it out or put it into some kind of system that can be automated in a software of some kind. And there's probably hundreds of things that we do in my business that I show people how to do in theirs to save you time and save you money and be more efficient and productive and profitable. And you got to embrace this stuff or you're going to work way too hard and you're not going to get in front of enough people. So you're not going to make enough money. Plain and simple.
Yeah. And the whole idea of systematizing, I love. I mean, I've just fallen in love with that. And I know that I had to go through every single step of what I do. For instance, with this podcast, from inviting a guest to getting the information, their bio, their photograph, and then obviously the interview process, setting up the appointments, and then it's got to be edited and all the other things that need to go into this and then posted, all the little steps. And I didn't realize in the beginning when I just did it, but how many different steps. And once I've got it down, now I can pass it on to someone and say, hey, this is what I need help with, all these different steps. So I think that's invaluable information. And I know you've got something up your sleeve for our premium members, Katrina, when we go into the premium site, that you're going to give us something juicy that is some of your secret sauce. So we'll wait for that. In the meantime, how can our listeners get a hold of you if they want to find out more about your services? Because you offer some incredible services.
Yeah, I do have a lot of trainings. I do events, virtual and in person. So you check out the events page and the trainings page. But primarily, I like to just send people to the free stuff page, the free trainings, because there's a lot of things there you can take advantage of to try me out, to listen to what I've got about. I have a free speaker training audio. I have a publishing info audio because I have a publishing company also. And then I have a Jumpstart Your Biz audio training and checklist on things you need to do every day to get in front of more people, and so on and so on. There's like 8 free things you can get. And the website is actually Jumpstart Your Biz Now, not business. It's jumpstartyourbiznow.com. And then /free trainings would be the one place I would send you to go get some free stuff. And then you're always welcome to contact me or connect on social media. Just tell me you heard me on Susan's podcast so I can remember how you heard about me. That would be great.
That'd be lovely. Yes. And I'll put all that in the show notes because sometimes our listeners, haven't got anything to write with. They're in the gym or they're driving. So yes, I love to put that in the show notes. Katrina, as you know, we always end up the podcast with a golden nugget. What is your golden nugget for our listeners?
Well, I would say one of the things that holds people back from doing some of the things that we're talking about here and on the marketing and the selling is their own either self-confidence. Maybe they don't feel like they look good on camera, so they don't want to do videos, or they don't want to go in person networking or speak on stage because they feel overweight, or they're going to wait till they lose the weight, for God's sakes, or it's got to be perfect before they go send an email. I have one client who drives me insane. It takes her 4 months to write the perfect email. And I want to just, So stop. I would say stop that. Stop. There's never perfect. Good enough is good enough. You have to just get it out and get in front of more people and move on to the next thing. That's it. You got to stop waiting for perfect.
Plain and simple. Yes, we often get in our own way because perfectionist gene is a killer. So yes, I really appreciate that. Katrina, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And thank you all for taking time out of your precious day to listen to this interview. And I sincerely hope that it sparked some ideas you can use to sell more books. Here's wishing you much book and author marketing success.
The time is now to take action and finally build your book-selling empire. And the great news is that Susan is here to help you. Visit bookmarketingmentors.com and sign up for a free 15-minute book marketing strategy session with Susan. She'll help you discover your first steps to marketing and selling your book. Only those who take action are rewarded, so visit bookmarketingmentors.com, and we'll see you again next week.